Hey there, it is your friendly neighborhood AI that speaks in the voice of Emily Pineapple, here to apologize for another production issue. Yes, again, it is Pops and Crackles. So if you just get some snap in there, have a nice bowl of cereal, and listen to this episode, we hope it doesn't disturb you too much. Thank you so much for your continued patience. Farewell and enjoy.
Everybody, thanks for checking out the Chris Gethard Show podcast. It's really cool that you're checking this out.
We're about to do, I think, the dumbest show we've done in years.
His life would be trash! Hey, you better believe I'm trashed.
We are scrappy trash people.
What's the point of this show? I just turned it on.
We've always been with this show.
We've always been trash people. We will always be trash people.
It's true.
This doesn't feel real.
Live from my grandmother's basement, we are space monkeys on a rocket ship searching the galaxy for an inhabitable episode of The Chris Gethard Show. I'm Emily Pineapple.
I'm Forrest, the keeper of the cannon.
And I'm Judge Robin.
And today we are discussing episode 5, The Whiffle Bat Gang, which aired on July 20th, 2011. The musical guest was Slang Corp, whose most recent album came out in 2016. And our panel was Chris Gethard, Bethany Hall, The Human Fish, Don Finelli, Random Gene, Shannon O'Neill, and
Bobby Moynihan, star of Agent Screen,
who is adorable on this episode, just my favorite, and Michael Caine. We also had the Whiffle Bat Gang, who were George Caraman, returning after the trash hunt of episode 1, Jesse Lee, also returning, Murph Meyer, and Sean Diston of Smoke Weed Son fame. I did not know that until right now. The theme for calls was Who Would You Fuck, Marry, and Kill on the panel. And the theme of the game was the Whiffle Bat Gang, which I will describe in just a moment. But first, because we think that it would be a little awkward to play Fuck, Marry, Kill with the three of us, mostly for numbers reasons, we're going to do that really awkwardly with the panel. Are you both really excited for this?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to let Forrest go first. I'm going to let Forrest go first.
Yeah,
though.
Forrest.
Okay.
Fuck, marry, kill.
I would fuck Murph.
Oh, yeah.
Because having heard Menage a Trois, his podcast with Diana, I know that he would be a great lover.
Diana, who was a face painter in episode 1.
I don't think you fuck Murph. I think Murph fucks you.
That's probably accurate. That's probably accurate, actually, yeah. But you know what? That's okay.
wildly inappropriate and unasked for.
So I would marry Bobby Moynihan because he seems like a sweet boy.
Yes.
And he's in Star Wars, and so I would be then 1 degree away from the Star Wars. And then I'd kill... Oh, who would I kill?
You kill everybody else.
I guess that's true. The way they played it, you just sort of killed everyone else. So I guess... Ooh, no, that would be the end of the Chris Gethard show. I would feel awful.
You kill one person. You can kill one person.
Who would you kill if you only had to kill one person?
If I had to only kill one person? I don't want to kill anyone. But maybe the human fish?
Yeah.
Just because he might return. He might regenerate. We don't
true.
know. It would be for science.
That's true.
And the dissection. Like, it would be a real way to further medical science, and so I'm really a hero. Actually.
I'll go next so that Judge Robin can have the final judgment. So I was going to marry Bethany because she's so adorable. But then you reminded me that Bobby Moynihan is both also adorable and on Star Wars. So, yeah, I got to marry Bobby. I also kind of want to fuck Murph based on the Menage a Trois thing, which is a little more awkward to say as someone who is of the sexual orientation that matches up with that. I'm getting a very intense look from my roommate, Forrest.
I think it's a solid choice. I'm not.
I don't want to kill Shannon, though. I want to make sure she survives.
There's lots of people.
I can't do everything the same as you. But I also would feel bad killing Michael Caine only because I don't really know who he is or what he does.
He holds a plane.
He holds a plane.
Very well, too.
Oh, yeah, masterfully.
I'm not going to kill anyone. I'm going to make that choice. Robin, Judge Robin.
All right, this is not going to come as a surprise to you two, but I'd fuck Bethany because because you both know I have a red hair thing. I would marry Don Finelli because, let's be honest, like, that man is gorgeous, and I could wake up and look at that every day. Like, he is objectively the best looking person in that room.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think it's only fair that I kill Random Jean for all the jokes that she's killed.
No.
Wildly inappropriate and unasked for.
So this was a pretty fun episode, even though the call-in topic is pretty lame, in my personal opinion. I mean, it just didn't really lead to much in the show. Do you all have different opinions than me?
No, I mean, I think it leads to, because it's so specific, what you answer, that there's not as much room for the callers to take it their own way.
Yeah, agree. So something fun about this episode, before I describe exactly the game, is what Chris says at the beginning of the episode when he's sitting in front of his paint chips, and
My favorite episode so far.
it's his favorite episode so far. It is also...
This is the worst idea I've ever had in my entire life.
Such is the dichotomy of the Chris Gethard Show.
Why did I think of this?
So yeah, this game is that there are a bunch of dudes, Murph included, who have wiffle bats, and whenever the secret word is spoken by anyone on the panel, they will then beat that person up to the Whiffle Bat Gang song. If you get a wiffle bat, if you are able to wrench it from the hands of a member of the Whiffle Bat Gang, you can then fight back using that. But then also this other thing happened. There was a bunch of toys that Bobby Moynihan brought.
That was just Bobby. Bobby was like, I don't want to get hit with wiffle bats, so he just went and bought a bunch of Captain America shields.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of Captain America shields and some, what is it? What type of lightsaber is that, Forrest?
I'm pretty sure they're Anakin's lightsaber, which is now Rey's lightsaber in the new trilogy.
The Force is strong with this one.
I also love that at that time, Disney didn't own every toy he brought, but now Disney owns every toy he brought except for the plane.
So the very first word for our game was the. Guess what happened immediately at the top of the show?
Welcome to the Chris Gethard Show. What can we do for you tonight?
So he got the shit beat out of him, and Shannon fights back in his defense, and the call didn't really pan out. So
the second word was call. And Bethany decided she just wasn't going to talk so she could avoid being hit. And Shannon, the brave Shannon O'Neill, says, no, don't be afraid. And then Chris immediately says call and starts getting wailed on and yells out, why did I think of this? I love that.
that pounding you hear at the end is him getting hit with a wiffle bat.
Yeah.
Why did I think of this?
I loved that his glasses flew off and Shannon picks them up.
Oh, poor Chris.
He also says this is the worst idea he's had in his entire life. And I'm pretty sure he would no longer say it's the worst idea he's had in his life because there have been other shows where he has been in greater physical pain.
I mean, there's one like a few episodes later where he gets like punched in the stomach.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. Okay.
Well, and I guess he...
Like this wasn't the worst idea for like more than a couple weeks.
Well, and the taser episode had already happened.
Oh, that's true. That was episode 4, and it was pretty fun,
but
not that great to talk about, honestly.
Doesn't he get tased in the ear in that episode?
He gets tased in the ear.
I'm surprised that the wiffle bats hurt more than getting tased in the ear.
He didn't get tase-zapped as much.
Those tasers are pretty weak. They're pretty weak.
Yeah, I mean, Murph got zapped in the nipple and was fine.
But Murph's tough. Murph would be fine getting hit with the wiffle bats, I think.
I mean, he even jumps in at some point. He gets his bat taken away, and then the next time that there's a Whiffle Bat Gang thing, he just jumps back in, and he has this like weird like pose, like he's trying to grab the thing from Shannon. I would have been terrified to be near Shannon.
Oh yeah. I don't want to fight Shannon.
He also knows that
well, the balls can take a lot. It's true, the testicles can take a lot of abuse.
That was from episode 4. One of the only real funny moments. our next thing that happened, we had Slang Corp perform, and then David from New York called.
I'll do that one. He said fuck Dawn because it would be exciting to have sex with an angry heterosexual. Mary Jean because she spent a ton on interview lessons, so she could probably hold a conversation. And then he'd kill Chris because he'd get little resistance from Chris because of how quickly he backed down from Garth Stevens. Apparently, this guy knew Drew, Drew's the producer.
One of the head writers.
And then he gets really boring and gets hung up on.
And
just
hung up
talking
on.
about like Drew's diet. The third word is Brooklyn. And that's when Walter comes on. What did you all think of Walter, the physical appearance of Walter, the show's only fan?
Be honest, didn't look like what I think he'd look like.
Right? He looks cool. He looks so cool.
He looks like a cool bicyclist.
Right?
You know, I've met people like him holding backpacks in other countries.
Right? Yeah.
Or people that look like him.
Yeah. So I guess that's why he's in New York.
I loved his clarification that he thinks Shannon is cool.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't have a crush on her. He just thinks she's really cool.
It would be.
Oh yeah, he breaks up with Shannon.
And then we get a fun call. It starts like this.
Oh my God, it's me.
And no one knows who it is.
So I definitely thought it was Alyssa also, just like everyone else.
It doesn't sound at all like Alyssa, though. Alyssa
No.
doesn't talk like that.
No, right, but I think just the like, it's me.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's like everyone's like, well, I think did they bring up Alyssa already before on the episode?
I'm not sure. It might just be that Bobby Moynihan like knew of her, like, or someone
Yeah.
told him, like, ran down what might happen on the show.
But yeah, I
So
think
he was expecting that.
I think it's just everyone wants Alyssa to call.
Yeah.
And so everyone is like, it must be, but no. It was Susan Casey who wanted to know. She wanted to know if she and Shannon are cool.
Yeah.
Shannon O'Neill.
Yeah.
We cool?
Shannon said, I don't know. We'll talk about it next week.
I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it next week.
See? Told you that's what she said.
Yeah. Chris is like, oh, Susan, like, you can't use this phone to air your personal nonsense, which one is against the ethics of a Howard Stern show. So I think that that's an interesting, for me, viewing the development of this show through the lens of Howard Stern being a huge influence on Chris.
I also love it because Chris's podcast, Beautiful Anonymous, is entirely airing personal things on a phone call for the public.
Oh, I feel like if this aired like 100 episodes later, he would have had them get into it.
I think it was a professional thing. I think it's an actual like kind of weird like professional thing that like he would feel uncomfortable sharing, because Shannon was the art director of the UCB at that time.
Oh, yeah,
wasn't
no,
she?
and also Shannon's pretty private.
Yeah.
I think it was because he knew Shannon wouldn't want to air that out in public, which is totally fair.
Yeah. Later we hear.
Shannon O'Neill is the biggest badass in the world.
True.
That's true. Yeah.
True
There's
things.
no one can argue with that.
And then we get the lone cornmeal machine, which talked about the Teapot Dome scandal. Forrest, tell us all about that.
The Teapot Dome scandal.
Yeah,
of
I want to
course.
know. I want to know piece by piece. I want to know through it. Robin,
Well-
you also saw this lone cornmeal machine. You can tell us all about the
Well, you see.
Teapot
You know,
The Teapot
Dome scandal.
The Teapot Dome scandal was a bribery scandal involving the administration of United States President Warren G. Harding from
So
1921
it was
to
pretty
1923.
Cool. I liked the animation.
I loved the angle that the short took was that the government was just jealous that guy that Albert Fall was so good at enriching himself by abusing his position.
Yeah.
But though they took away his freedom, they never took away his American dream.
Money.
you know, my favorite part about
What?
it was the lack of testicular
No
torsion.
testicular torsion.
You're gonna have to have a surgery on your testicles. So I'm gonna cut open your scrotum.
Don't remind me about this, please.
Okay.
Like,
so Ruby Carp called in. She's 11 years old, and her mother is there, which Chris seems to insist upon when dealing with young ladies. Fair enough.
Isn't she a guest later on in the show?
Was she on the math episode?
Yeah. I think
Okay,
she's
I
on the
thought that
math
was her.
episode. I watched that recently.
Yeah, and she's great. What she asks is, she asks for the panel's greatest fears, because do, date, or die, or fuck, marry, kill, would be inappropriate for her. She says, which is very adorable. What are your greatest fears?
What are ours? Or?
Yeah, Judge Robin and Keeper of the Cannon Forest. What are your greatest fears?
Spiders. I don't like spiders. Yeah, I really don't like spiders.
Sand. Having to be around it.
Oh, it's just a Star Wars thing.
It's just so coarse and
Do
rough.
Do we have the Star Wars button still? Is the button still there? There we go. Thank you, Emily. Yeah, you know I hate spiders though, Emily. You remember that huge spider, that gargantua that used to hang out like in front of your apartment building?
Oh yeah, I liked him.
Shelob?
Oh yeah, we killed him.
Oh.
Me and my girl. No, it was like a whole ordeal. Like I sprayed him with a water bottle. My girlfriend waved a broom at him, and then when he dropped to the floor, I ran over and dropped a dictionary on him.
Are you sure you killed him?
Yeah, he could still be stalking you.
Yeah,
maybe he's gonna.
No,
find
I
it.
picked it up and slammed it down a couple more times.
Oh Jesus!
Fatality.
It's fight or flight. It's fight or flight.
I'm gonna go with Don Finelli. I'm afraid of drowning. Did not like Titanic.
I did think of you when he said that.
Yeah, not a good one. So yeah, Jean's was not being able to get a job.
That's too real.
Don's was drowning. Michael's that he'll jump off of high places. There's a name for that actually. It's like French and it means call of the void.
L'appel de vide.
Yeah, sure.
I just love how specific
French.
it is. I love that it's not, I'm afraid of jumping off of tall places. It's, I'm afraid I will.
L'appel de vide is like they're also called intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just when you're like driving around and like think like, oh, if I drove off to the left, I'd drive off this bridge.
Yeah. Like it just happens to everyone and they're not an indication that your brain has anything wrong with it.
No, they're totally normal. But
Bobby's was the Whiffle Bat Gang itself.
the Whiffle Bang, I think he had started calling it by this point.
Whiffle Bang.
Oh, Chris's was great. Well, first Fish's was the zoo. Chris's, what's that? He'll see his parents die and have to deal with that. That's just like, I'm fearing a thing that I'm going to have to go through. How did you both feel about that?
I feel like his real fear is just like more emotional trouble.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fair enough.
That is a bad one.
I think he's resilient though. I think he'll be resilient. He'll have Hallie.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do wonder if that's still his worst fear.
Can I change
Yes.
mine? I'm changing mine to like I have a kid and that kid turns out to be an incel.
Oh, that's a really bad one. Yeah, having a really evil kid.
Yeah, just ask Han Solo and Princess Leia.
Hit the button. Emily, hit the button.
Oh, wow. Bethany's is garages. Shannon's is accidentally killing someone, which...
Wait, hold on. Are we just going to like go over garages like that's not a weird fear?
I mean, it's like it's dark in there. There's lots of tools that can be used for murder. There's a couple of like Michael Myers kills someone in like a garage, I think.
Yeah, I think it was that. It was like they're so dark.
Are you afraid of garages? I'm a little afraid of garages, I suppose.
I'm not afraid.
Are you like what is weird to you about that, Robin?
I was just picturing like her walking down like the suburbs and just screaming every like 5 seconds.
I think it's being in garages.
Okay, that's
inside.
maybe dark spaces might have been more accurate.
Yeah, like
I don't
a big dark space with like God knows what in it. Shannon's is accidentally killing someone, which is what prompted.
Shannon O'Neill's the biggest badass in the world.
Bobby points out that if he was told one of their friends killed someone, he'd assume it was Shannon. Do you know who Daryl Strawberry is? The next thing that Ruby does is ask about Daryl Strawberry to try and get them to say the secret word Brooklyn.
So Daryl Strawberry was a baseball player.
Okay.
And Chris did a whole one-man show where he played Daryl Strawberry, despite looking nothing like Daryl Strawberry at all.
Shit. Okay. That makes sense.
And so, yeah, it was Daryl Strawberry's one-man show, which was just Chris Gethard playing Daryl Strawberry.
Does Chris like baseball?
I don't know, because the question is, does he like baseball or just like the joke of like him doing a one-man show pretending to be a semi-famous baseball player who he looks nothing like at all? Like
that is a pretty good joke. They do look nothing alike.
And the only reason I know who Daryl Strawberry is because he was on the baseball episode of The Simpsons.
Oh.
So where he took growth tonic and it just made his head get huge.
Who wants to talk about the 7th caller?
Yeah, I'll
Judge
talk about
Robin.
it. You just like start saying the N-word a bunch.
Yeah, got the jerk face on.
And then they just kind of like all yell at him, the Whiffle Gang. The Whiffle Bang beats him up through the internet. The only thing that this is worth talking about is because Bobby shoots something at the TV, and Chris starts yelling at him for that, and Bobby's like, "What? Like the guy was saying the N-word. Like that's way worse."
You're yelling at me. The last guy said the N-word.
We get another word in play, even though Brooklyn is still in play. So grr is the word in place, but guess who calls in but the Gregulator, Chris Gethard's brother. He plays Fuck, Marry, Kill, and...
But he doesn't say that. He just says FMK because he doesn't have a potty mouth.
But then he says that who he would fuck was Bethany.
You say raw dog, Port Authority style, and not fuck.
Yep. Apparently, he also installed a glory hole in Chris's trunk. Do you know anything about this, Forrest?
No.
No?
I don't.
It's not even in any of his books.
Yeah,
I feel like I'd remember.
I don't think Lose Well fully brings it up or anything either. Like, I think this is still a mystery.
That is hilarious. That's when something incredible happens. It cuts to Chris talking about in front of the paint samples, talking about how they are switching the tapes at the M&N studio because they don't know how to do that without cutting the show. And then when we cut back, what do we see when we cut back?
Shannon has Murph knocked to the ground and is in the process of stealing his Whiffle Bat. And then just starts smacking the gang around with it. And then after she has it, slams it on the ground a bunch of the times and shouts.
We assume that like Shannon said "grr" or something, right?
Someone probably just like goaded her into bad-mouthing Gersteve.
Oh no, it was yes.
Oh, that's right. They had switched to a new word. They had gone to word 6 and I think had retired "gur."
Mm-hmm.
And then she said yes.
We then hear a little more about the human fish. Chris reveals that
Half the people find the human fish hilarious. Half the people find the human fish to be a total creep.
Yeah, total creep. Someone sort of talks over that. So my first experience seeing the Chris Gethard Show was on the recommendation of Forrest here. It was at Outside Lands in 2014, 13.
Yeah, I think it'd be 14.
And I had never seen it before. I was sitting in front of a group of Chris Gethard Show fans. So they were like screaming and chanting and like shaking things and had like signs, but there were like 5 of them. And the tent was mostly empty.
All 5 of them were there?
All 5 of them were there. And the thing that freaked me out the most was the human fish. Just how he looked. It really freaked me out.
It's a weird looking guy.
He's a weird looking guy. He's like, he does like weird things with his physicality. I've later seen him on The Marvelous Miss Maisel. He doesn't move as much like the human fish. But yeah, I thought he was a real creep. What do you all think?
I mean, I think he's hilarious. I love human fish. I never found him creepy. I was confused as to why he looked like that until I learned he was a creature from the sea. But I don't find him creepy at all. I think he's just really funny.
I never found him creepy on the show. It was only like live out of context.
Well, see, I've never seen the human fish live. I've only seen El Pescado Muchacho,
That's
his cousin
true.
who lives in the Bay Area. So yeah. I don't know.
What do you think, Judge Robin? What's the final judgment? Eh?
And to which one? To creepy or funny?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That is when we get a fun question from Random Gene. What was Random Gene's question, friends? I have the answer here.
Okay, so I'm going to debate you on this answer because Gene asks for clarification on what Port Authority style means.
As portrayed here.
Yeah. And they tell her that it's the use of a glory hole.
Yeah, what they say.
You have a sound clip for this?
Oh, yeah.
My brother was saying he would take Bethany to a public restroom, put his penis through a hole, and allow Bethany to service him.
I can just like, I really hope Bethany never hears this. Because I can like feel her blushing through time and space.
Yeah.
So I looked this up on Urban Dictionary, and there was no definition for it, so...
It could be a weird, like, New York thing.
I mean, I definitely think it's an East Coast thing because I think they're the only ones who refer to
glory
who
hole?
say Port Authority. Like, I've never heard anyone over here say Port Authority.
Isn't that like the name of a jacket company?
Yeah. I was thinking
yeah.
it must be like having to do with sailors, maybe?
Yeah, it's also the authority that runs the ports.
Yeah.
And so I think, are you thinking Sports Authority?
I might be.
Because I just got that's a pun. I hear Port Authority so little that I never thought that Sports Authority was a pun until right now.
What do you think it could mean, Robin? If you were to come up with the meaning for Port Authority style, what would that style be?
Just involving a lot of paperwork, a lot of customs paperwork.
And that's basically the end of the show. They try and get someone to like bait them directly into saying Brooklyn. So someone says the worst borough. They like name a couple boroughs.
Long Island gets
Long
named.
Island, yeah.
And in Staten Island also.
Yeah.
Shannon gets it though.
Yeah, Shannon gets it. And fucking kills. Yeah, and so that is the Whiffle Bat Gang show, which means that it is time for our personal sections on this.
My favorite episode so far.
So we start off with my section, MVNPC, Most Valuable Non-Player Character, the Best Audience Member.
I love you!
So today the audience, they set up the stage really interestingly. They had the panel in like, rows, 2 rows on one side, and then they had the audience on the other side of the screen, like in like 4 rows. And people were in costumes. And you could see them the whole time, and they had signs that you could not read because the show is so blown out. Someone had something that said token, and it was an interesting. I don't know that we get this set up again where we can really see the audience. But there was a guy dressed like Santa. But my favorite guy is the guy who was dressed like a kissing booth. Rob Malone also gets a person of honor because this was the first time he really like broke it down and like danced really crazy and like got everyone to dance with him.
I appreciated that with one of the callers, Don Finelli asked if she'd come down and kiss the guy in the kissing booth, and she said no, and Don Finelli was just like, okay. It's like, good, Don Finelli, good for you, thank you, thank you for respecting that.
All right, that means that it's time for that canonical corner over there of Chris's canons, where canon happens, the very stable and never changing name of this section of the show.
That's all you need to know.
Forrest, what trivia, Easter eggs, and superfan observations do you have for us today?
So I have a couple of things. One of them is President Harding, who was mentioned in the Lone Cornmeal Machine's video, died in San Francisco.
Oh, hey.
He officially died of food poisoning at the Palace Hotel, but local lore, as the House of Shields puts it, says he died in that bar with a mistress at his side.
I mean...
And it's connected to the hotel with a secret passage that's still there. It's just walled off. It's from Prohibition days. And then my other one was just, I really appreciated the fact that Bobby Moynihan brought lightsabers, because Bobby Moynihan, as we talked about, is now part of the Star Wars family.
Who does he play on Star Wars Resistance?
So on Resistance, Bobby is one of the shopkeepers who sells things. So I'm behind on Resistance.
Boo, Forrest.
He is Orca.
Fan.
He's Orca. Orca, who's a Shadra fan who sells things.
Does he look like an orca?
No, he looks kind of like a bat.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the Shadra fan look like bats. The first one appeared in the cantina in A New Hope.
That's cute.
I loved that he was already on SNL when he appeared on this. I thought it was cool that even though he had been on SNL, he would still come on.
And he seemed so genuinely excited. He was really just delightful.
And he comes back a number of times over the course of the show. Like Bobby definitely is really a fan.
Yeah.
And a friend of the show.
That brings us to our final segment, Judge Robin's scorecard. All rise for the Honorable Judge Robin.
And be seated. All right. So every week, I, Judge Robin, will be issuing out points to the various people on the panel. This week, Chris got 2 points. 1 point for almost like instantly regretting the entire thing of this episode. Another point for the quote, my brother did install a glory hole in the trunk of my car. Bobby got 2 points. 1 for not being able to say Whiffle Bat Gang. Whiffle Bang. And also for the quote, "You're yelling at me." The last guy said the N-word. Human Fish got a point because I thought his biggest fear being the zoo was pretty funny. Bethany got a point for "You'll say raw dog Port Authority style." And of course, in first place is the Whiffle Bat Gang. Ooh. They got 420 points for beating the shit out of a racist over the internet. 'Cause you know I'm about that.
Yeah.
You know I'm about beating up racists over the internet.
This is, of the ones we've watched, this is definitely my favorite so far.
Absolutely mine too. Judge Robin, what is your final judgment on this episode? Should people watch it?
Yeah, this is a good starter episode. Yeah. It's the first one where you get to see like they have a theme for the episode. The theme goes terribly wrong right away, and like Chris regrets it almost instantly. It's pretty good for like a starter.
I definitely agree.
Oh,
I definitely agree. This was not my starter episode. Mine was 17th century gladiators.
18th century
American gladiators not coming through properly. But this would have been a great first episode.
I do think that.
Do you know what yours was, Robin?
I think this was one of my first ones. I think this was one of the first ones. One of those days where I was just hanging out in your guys' place and Forrest put it on, or you put it on.
Yeah,
probably.
My first one was episode 111, We Watch You, which aired on October 9th, 2013.
Which we'll get to in 500 years. That means that this is the end of our episode reviewing episode 5 of the Chris Gethard Show. I am currently playing us out to the song The World According to Me by the band Phlogiston. You can check them out on Spotify. Their name is spelled PHLOGISTON. I promise that you can trust me as a host, even though I am bad at spelling. Have a lovely day, and we will see you back for episode 6.
I don't go there very much. From what I see out my window, babe, I don't need to keep in touch. I don't listen to the radio. I don't watch it on TV. I draw my own conclusions. The world according to me. In the world according to me, the deaf can hear, the blind can see. In the world according to me, we're all equal, we're all free. Upside down and backwards looks normal in my eyes. I still know what it's all about, and I see right through your lies. I don't care what people hear, I don't care what they see. What matters is not important in the world according to me. In the world according to me, the deaf can hear, the blind can see. In the world according to me, we're all equal, we're all free. In the world just sitting in the grass. You might think I'm crazy, and that may possibly be. But crazy is as crazy does. It's the world according to me. In the world according to me, the deaf can hear, the blind can see. In the world according to me, we're all equal, we're all free. In the world according to me, the deaf can hear, the blind can see. In the world according to me, we're all equal, we're all free.
Lo siento, mi amigo, Gare Stevens.
Listen,
You
lo
owe us
siento.
that.